Hey guys, my name is Seniac and welcome to another city skyline experiment where today we're going to be building I won't say a huge city, but we're going to try and build a city with a little bit of a challenge in mind. And that challenge is the one square or the one tile challenge, where when it comes to zoning, we can only zone one square or one tile for every building. This is going to be very interesting because one, we're going to create the infrastructure like we normally would. We're building all the roads and stuff of this city, but it's not going to look as populated as it normally would if you zoned everything. So we're going to do one square and we're going to kind of see how this city functions. If it functions, if it can sustain and like support itself. I don't know. These are all the questions we're going to ask in today's episode of Would It Really Work? Haha, got him. Right, so this is the kind of area we got with. And we're not really going to change how we kind of approach and build a city. It's just when it comes to the zoning, rather than kind of dragging and filling all the nooks and crannies and gaps in, we can do one tile and then move on. They're going to be very, very small houses. I wonder if they'll even be able to upgrade to level 3. Probably not, probably not. But first things first, I mean, we need to kind of sort out then the kind of highway and intersection kind of area. So let's first bring this down. Now we're going to bring it down not far, but far enough to a point where it's a good entry point to the, is that kind of slightly, no, it's all good, it's all good. And of course, do Seniac's signature move, which everybody loves, roundabouts. Beautiful. I don't think I can ever not use a roundabout in a game. I should really do like a no roundabout challenge. That would be quite fun. Right. Let's just connect these up. Pretty basic, nothing too special, nothing interesting about that. That is just the entry point to the city. So that's the entry point then. And we want to do like 3 roads going off it in various directions, and then we build the city and infrastructure upon it. So we'll first start then with the 6-lane roads. Now the 6-lane roads are going to be the kind of foundation of the infrastructure to begin with. And we'll bring that up there. So that's going up by 90. We do one here that also goes up by 90. Where's 90? Oh, we've gone too far. There we go. We'll also bring this one out by 90. Now, I don't expect there to be a dramatic amount of traffic. Don't expect that to be the case at all. But what we will do as well, though, make sure we got some, basic transport infrastructure set up. And we could do a kind of tram route along. So what would have that been there? This one here is, if I go this way, that is 45. So it's pretty much smack bang in the middle. So if we do 45, which I'm hoping that's also 45. That does not look like 45. That is 56. Yeah. Okay. So where is 45 on here then? So is this 45? I think this is 45 here. If I cut that in there. Deletings. So let's find out quickly now. That is 45 there. So what is this in total then going across? That is 54. Okay, that makes it a lot easier now for everything else we're going to be doing with. So 54. And then cut that straight in. And then 54 again. And we'll bring it to here. 54. Boom. And then we'll create our little bridge over. And that's going to be the tram transport link that runs through the whole city. Nice. So off this there, we need to do all the little intertwining roads and avenues and kind of cul-de-sacs and whatnot, using our smaller road system, building off it, and then we get to zone this beautiful city. It's going to be fun, so I'll kind of get all the zoning down right now, and yeah, we can start to build our one tile city. Okay then, so we've got down now the infrastructure of the city. We've kind of created a few little cul-de-sacs, little sprawling roads off it. It's kind of made like a general kind of infrastructure, a few little kind of, you can consider this as like a downtown area in a way, slightly. I don't know how much you want to consider it. But We've got the water down too. So we're pretty much, both got power, water and sewage. So we're pretty much ready to start zoning it. So this is going to be quite interesting because how is the power going to be affected by this? We'll first start with some kind of, like, you know, what's the word for it? Like suburban residential area. It's been quite interesting. I think I'll start in this corner over here. So let's start here. And this is literally how it's going to work. I put a square down. We'll do a couple of neighbors. Bam. We'll kind of do it opposite a little bit. And that is as much as the zoning is going down. So I don't know whether this is too close, because, you know, we'll kind of, we'll do this one for free, like a gap of 2 between each one, and see how that kind of looks. But that's literally that's literally how it's all going to go down. We'll do a gap of 2 between each one on these ones to see kind of how it flies, and then we'll do some here too. As well. So that's where the residential is now going to be slightly built. We're literally doing the 1 tile challenge. And we need to do some commercial. So I think some commercial will be good over on this side. I'm now only kind of just realizing how time consuming this is going to be, trying to get down now each of these tiles. But a little commercial there. The power issue is going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. And we'll do the same on this side. So we've kind of done it like that. So like one before now. So we've got commercial buildings on either side. Interesting to say the least. Industrial then. Where should we have the industrial area? Let's have it down here. Let's have it down here. So we'll start there. And I feel like I don't mind too much going with a 1 tile gap between these guys. Oh, that's a 2 tile. We'll see how this kind of plays out. But we are going to need power, garbage and whatnot. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it operates, this whole area. Right, we'll get to there. That should be good. Alright, there's screen for power. Okay, so, do you know what? Now I'm realising it, the power kind of radius actually spreads quite far, doesn't it? It actually does. So let's have a little fast forward then. We are losing money, 4,000 a week with the roads and the sewage plants and the water stations. But ultimately, we've got some residential in. We're now starting to build some commercial and some industry. That's slowly starting to come in as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. So I can go for my go-to kind of garbage plant here, which ultimately gives us the garbage needs and the power needs, but it only produces power once it's collected garbage, so it'll be a while before that starts producing any power whatsoever. So in that meantime then, what I'm going to do is zone quite a bit of this, just so when it does start producing power, the kind of power spread will eventually go all the way there. I'm going to zone this whole bottom area of the town or the city that we're going to try and build with these 1 tiles. And then hopefully when it starts producing power, they're all connected and they can all have a good time. But it's going to take a while, guys. It's going to take a while. There's been quite a bit currently zoned right now. It kind of all stretches over. It does all reach. If they were all built and there was power being produced, they would technically all be connected. So while we wait for that to kind of literally happen, we're going to continue to zone all this. I didn't realize how long it was going to take to individually zone all this. It was actually more time consuming than I originally thought it would be. But then again, why wouldn't it be time consuming? I'm literally I'm technically like hand painting square by square. It's quite therapeutic in a way that it's quite calming, but it's also frustrating because I can't get it done as quick as I want to get it done. And I've resorted now to doing 1 gaps because it's just easier to do. Visually, it's easier to kind of get them in really quick than trying to count or do 2 gaps, if that makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense somewhere down the line. But yeah, what's interesting as well is, even though we're doing these little 1 squares, it's how much them little squares take up demand. It's very interesting to see it actually happen and take place. Now, I have a feeling we're not going to see much growth until we actually physically start producing power, which we got to wait for that plant to produce it. So I might just drop down a power plant for now until, you know, that plant it's producing its own energy, just to kind of get the city and town up and running. But let's take a look. How much money we got? So we're still losing quite a bit. It hasn't really changed much because we don't have that many buildings currently down. So what we are was that we started at losing 4,800 a week. We're now down to 4,700, and it's dropping slowly. It's going to be a very slow decrease because these buildings are super tiny. But it's going to be fairly interesting to watch you go in. So we've actually got a little bit of residential demand as it continues to grow and grow and grow. Has that taken in any garbage just yet? It's taken in garbage, so at some point it will start producing. And I think what we'll do here, drop down a little bit of industry. Just a little bit. And then we'll go and focus on something else in the city. Maybe some services and whatnot to start getting some upgrades. If it even is possible to upgrade these 1 squares, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to say the least, boys. Right, let's get all that in there. Happy with that. Solid, mate. So you're producing yet? Not producing. So where are we at then? If we kind of go into this little zone, or the view here. Look at these small, tiny little residential buildings. Tiny little houses and these little people walking about. It's quite cute, isn't it? They're like little wooden shacks. They've all got satellite TV, though. You notice they got the big stuff on the roof? A lot of them got... this one's looking a little bit more fancier, boys. This one's looking a little bit more fancier. We got some commercial stuff going down over here. Little gas station, Dino Oil. I like the name of that. But literally at the moment, it's a ghost town. It is a ghost town. You producing yet? Still not producing. Interesting. Interesting. Right, so while we do have the big chunk of money right now, is it worth me getting the services in? Because we're going to be losing money quite heavily, or only get it in when they start complaining about it. Maybe that's the other option. Right, what I'll do then is I'll get a wind turbine down. It's not the solution, but it is, you know, the problem fixer for now. Give these guys a little bit of power. And then demand should start coming back in. So we can only power this little section there. Already the wind turbine is at maximum capacity, which is fine. We've got enough zoning in now that we literally have to wait for the demand to follow. And to wait for the demand to follow, just time, guys. It's literally time. So this is looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. People are moving in. So it looks like, even though it's a 1 square, it could possibly go all the way up to that. I don't know if it will. We'll kind of see what happens. Producing power yet, boy? Still no. So it's interesting. We've got 287 population. I think it's probably, we don't need the second one of these for quite some time, so I can get rid of it. Same over here. We can get away with not having those ones for quite a while. I kind of didn't put too much thought process into it, so it kind of does drop down the money that we are losing. So again, remember, we started with losing 4,800 a week. We're now only down to 3,000, which is still dramatically dropping. So I think it's flatline now at 2,900. Nice. How's the power like now? Oh, that's water power. Power's all good. Oh, it's powering these guys because now they've got connected. So it's slowly moving in. It's a slow process. Still not producing power. I wonder how much like kind of garbage they need before they start producing. That'd be quite interesting to find out. It's all coming in. Look, the hustle and bustle of the city is now. It's now happening. It's actually happening. So we could do a little police station. Yep, police here. Going to cost us 480 a week. Do some patrols. And we'll drop this. We'll drop this here. So it should be connected to the power supply. Yep. And then that should handle their crime issues that they have. Might slowly start to cause some upgrades. Might slowly start to increase some demands. And we should do the same for the fire too. So is this the cheapest one? Yes. And we'll first get one over here by the industrial area. To keep those guys sweet. And then we'll place the other one just here. Because it is fairly cheap. Like 2 of those is like having 1 police station. So we can spread that fire coverage. And now we're at to the point where these are now going to touch. But we're not producing enough power to support it. But at this point, we should be hoping. Aha! It's now producing power! Alright, good stuff. Just get freaking connected in the middle somehow. And then we're going to be laughing all the way to the bank, boys. All the way to the bank. Well, hopefully anyway. Hopefully. We just got to wait for the demands to keep going. Keep pushing with those demands. Build something here. I don't want to drop anything like that there. I want it to be all natural. Because that is part of the challenge. Is seeing this. Oh, there we go. Seeing if the city can support itself. So that now producing power. I'll keep the wind turbine there for now. Just as a backup in case that does drop. But now, the city is fully connected. Water, power. Right, it was connected. See, I told you that's going to drop a little bit. We need more residential, producing more garbage. So please, more people just move in. Move in, please. We're going to see waves of it until we can have like a constant flow of garbage coming in. So while they tick along nicely, let's look at some high density residential. So this is like, you know, start to boost the population a little bit more with these small little areas. And these obviously do produce more garbage because they have more households in them. And it'd be interesting to see as well what these buildings will kind of max out to be, because they're not, they're 1 square tile. So what would they eventually be once they've leveled up to the maximum level? If it's possible for us to get it to that max level, of course. It's just it's just all these questions. I find it very, very interesting. And hopefully we can solve or answer some of these questions. So another way to earn a little bit of money is to create a city park and then charge an extortionate amount for you to enter the park. That's always a good way to make the monies. So how are we doing? We need more power. More power. Oh, there we go. Producing power again, guys. We're back up and running. We're back up and running for a short time while we're producing a little bit of power. And we're very close, and we're getting there on our way to making. Or not to making, sorry, to having 1,000 population. It's quite exciting, isn't it? It is quite exciting. So we got a little bit of death right now, so you have to handle that death care. Look at these little buildings. They're so cute. Cute, I tell you. So as much as we're making the money, we got to spend more money, of course. We'll put a little crematorium there to handle the death needs. Oh, and the power's back up and running again. look at these ones. Like little apartment blocks. So they can only have 1 household for now. But hopefully over time, we can level those bad boys up. So is it worth us then looking at trying to get a park in? I mean, yeah, while we have the money to do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so we've got to think about where we want it. Where would be the ideal location? Well, we do have the highway here and the kind of roads here. And these don't, if you kind of work here and you want to get over to there, there's no way to cross over. So maybe it's worth building a city park that kind of fills all the edges, nooks and crannies of the highway, meaning that we can then create paths to bridge over to various areas, and that can be the crisscross area. And that's how they travel to, you know, these areas there, and we can charge money for them to do it. That would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? That would be pretty cool. So how far are they completing the zoning? So they've still got a long way to go to complete the zoning, which gives us time to build a city park. So literally, we'll get the smaller one. This is how it's going to go down. Is that a bit? Okay, wow, okay. This is how it's going to go down. It's literally going to go down here and here. And we'll get the small one in. Oh, we'll kind of put it in the park anyway. That's literally how it's going to get... Oh, ooh. You know, Clashing Styles are 2 parks, I see. Foolish. We're calling it the Woodland City Park. Can't even English right now. Right, get all this in. Make sure it's snug as a rug in a... Snug as a bug in a rug. There we go. To the roads. So we can get those entrances down. Just kind of get rid of that bit there. Okay, how much money we got there? Right, keeping an eye on our money. Oh, we're now losing less than 1,000 a week. For the first time ever. And our population is now over 1,000. Nice. Right, that's our little city park. It's a weird pattern. It's definitely a weird pattern. But we can get some of this good stuff now in. So city park. The entrance, we'll have the entrance there. That's kind of fine. And then we have a side entrance here. And then we need entrances in various spots. So there, how much is... Oh, it's cost us 2,000 a pop. Oh, that's not in the park area. See, this is what I mean by we need to make sure it's as snug as a bug in a rug. Right, we're pausing the game a second. Right, really? Really? God damn it, game. Right, we do our best now to spend all this money. There we go. We just spent a fortune right there of all those park entrances. But in the long run, they're going to be very, very handy for us. So, if we bring this up, can I bridge it? Well, let's bring it to there first and then bridge it at this point. There we go. So that bridge is over. So this is like the main way that you kind of get yourself across and through the city to various different points of it is via the city park, and you have to pay to enter it, which is well for us very beneficial. But at this point, I won't see the like 100% benefits for it until we've kind of expanded over to this area or kind of section of the park or of the city. Sorry. So we just get that to cross there. It's very awkward building. I get that. But I'm just trying to get it all down and up and running and in. So I have to create a bridge over there in just a moment. There we go. So the bridge will take place here. So one there, one there. We need one here. There and there and there. So if you're here, you can enter the park there, cross over, walk up, get over there and get down there. Or ultimately, if it's possible, right, we'll create a crisscross there. There we go. Just gotta do our best to try and connect it any way, shape, and form. Oh no! It deleted it, boy. Right, how much money have we got left? Gotta keep an eye on how much money we got left. There we go. It's quite a weird turn that is, isn't it? But there we go. That's kind of the roughness of it, unfortunately. So how much are we going to charge for this park area to enter? Now, we won't see the benefits happen anytime soon. We've got to wait for the majority of the park or the city to be up and running. But it's a start, guys. I wonder if anybody will go into it now, considering there's nothing in there whatsoever. Should we put something in there first? Right, we'll drop this in. Drop a park, kind of cap and some restrooms. Alright, now there is technically something in there for you to go and visit. So we could try and hopefully build up some money. We'll see how things go. But ultimately, we can see ourselves getting a bank loan very, very soon. Very soon. There is quite a bit of demand there for commercial at this point now. So we filled up all our commercial spots. So let's continue the growth of commercial demand. There we go. Let's kind of bring it. I'm about to say, what was that there? It's the fire station. Let's bring it up and round now. Filling all these little nooks and crannies in. As it now slowly starts to bring down the commercial. And then we'll go along here too, leading up to that park gate. Yep, there's people now going into it, which is pretty cool to see. Right, there we go. So we got some more commercial down. The city continues to grow. And how much money we're making. So we're almost halfway to filling its debt. Slowly getting there. Slowly getting there. We've already satisfied that commercial demand, the majority of it. So it's probably time to get a little bit more in. Keep that going. And then hopefully the residential shall follow. So now we got a lot of hustle and bustle to the city. We're now making $2,000 a week profit. And this is mainly down to the fact that the kind of park area is making $900 in income. So what I did was put commercial this side, a bit of residential this side. So if you want to kind of walk over, you just walk through the gate of the park. We charge you and get money. Something I've noticed as well, right? No industry has been built. Now, is this because industry can't be built on a one-tile square? I have a feeling that's what's going down. So what I'm going to do is, which is going to be interesting right now, is kind of do an area of a couple of offices and see how that kind of goes down. See if that gets built. Because if that's the case, it could be we can't have industry, like the dirty industry anyway, but we can have offices, but not the filthiness of this type of industry. So let's find out. So let's do some over here, because it means they have to walk across the bridges if they try. But again, I don't know if we can build offices in this, you know, such a small zoned area. So we'll just kind of give it time. I don't even think the power, the power won't even spread that far. So we're still getting a lot. Now, what are you complaining about there? Not enough educated workers. Oh yeah, we should actually think about getting some education stuff down. So we could use the schools as the buffer zone between areas to pass on the electricity. So if I did one there and one there as our elementary schools, which will pass on the electricity to that, which is now connected to that area. This will eventually, we could get something else thrown down or whatnot. But we have schools in, which just slowly start to educate the peeps. And maybe throw a high school down. Now I could squeeze in a high school here. We'll pull it more like diagonal, like there. Which will bring the power over. Which is all good. So, might see a few more people using the parks to get to the schools. It'd be kind of interesting to see that happen. But I have a feeling we're not going to get much industry in this city. Interesting. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay, well, we'll see what happens, because literally we virtually have no demand for it. So when there's no demand, what can you do about it? Literally, what can you do about it? Just to kind of make it a little bit interesting. Like if I zoned, get rid of that one, a 4 square, will that get built? Because again, we have literally no demand for it. So I don't think it will. But let me try the opposite with this. So if I do like a 4 there, will that get built? No. No demand at all. That's interesting. That's very, very interesting. Right. Population's still growing. You can see we need to do more commercial. We kind of create like another area over there as commercial, so they've got to walk over to it. Probably do this one, then that one residential. Maximize the profits we're making from the park. Things are looking good for this one-tile city. It's very unique and weird and strange, but it's pretty cool at the same time. Now we're closing in on 3,000 people living in the city in our population. We've now zoned our little one gaps here. We've done some higher density commercial over here, some low density. Still got the offices in there, nothing's really happening. Got some kind of high density residential over there, so they've all got to cross bridges in the crisscross manner to get to and from the commercial area and obviously where they work and want to shop, which makes us more cash ready from the park, which are making nearly 7,000 a week profit, which we're now making 7,000 a week profit, which is kind of crazy. So I think we're going to take it to the next step now. A lot of the complaints kind of borderline lie around the fact that we don't have enough educated workers. And while we do have 2 elementary schools in, which the capacity is there for it. High school, we have the capacity for it as well. We don't have any universities in. So I'm thinking we should drop down a university, which I'm going to place just there. I don't think I need to place any more educational buildings in, just because that's going to satisfy the population and the demand fairly easy. Because we're not going to have like a hustling, bustling 10,000, 20,000 city population. It's just not going to happen. It's literally just not going to happen. But that's now all in. Pretty sweet, mate. Look at these little mini skyscrapers. They're kind of cool, aren't they? They are kind of cool. How much is the park making? 6,700. Like literally, if we didn't have that park, we'll be in debt right now, losing money each week. So while we still have this tick along, there's still gaps of commercial need to fill in. There's still gaps of residential that need to fill in. So we haven't fully completed all the demand just yet. So while it does what it needs to do, why don't we look at setting up the public transport loop, which is going to be our trams. Now, the reason I want the trams in, it's a nice and simple, easy method to get people around, and it's pretty cool. I like trams. Trams are quite a cool thing to add in. So add in a little depot up here, and there we go. It should have power, yep. And we'll do the tram stops then. So we'll have our first one. And we kind of set this up quite smart, so we'll have it near the entrance there. Which way is it going? Okay, it's going this way. We'll have the next one drop here, and then the next one drop there, there, and there, with there, and here, and finish that loop. And then we just have the other one going in the opposite direction, stopping at all the same stops. Now, I don't expect to make money off this. In fact, I don't expect to make, any money whatsoever. I expect this to be hemorrhaging money from our city. But it's nice to have. I should really have one there, shouldn't I? It's nice to have some form of transport to get the people around the city. There we go. Add that little stop in there. And, yeah. Get them around. So some people who live down here, who want to work up there, it's quite too far for them to kind of travel. Now they can hop on a tram. So hopefully that should sort out some job issues with not enough educated workers. Well, now they can get and be educated with the trams, and they can get to work. So we'll see how things rock and roll with that then. It's quite interesting to see like how this looks compared, like the low density, to how the high density looks. It looks really weird, doesn't it? It looks odd. It looks like a new housing development has just been built in, where they've just like completely cleared and flattened the land and put the buildings in. And because it's a new development, the trees they've planted haven't quite grown yet, so it looks a little bit weird. That's how it looks like at the moment. It's cool and weird at the same time. And still we have no industry. We have no demand for industry whatsoever. I'm not sure why. Because I'm sure I've built cities before where I've zoned like an office or a factory on a 1 square tile, and it's built. So I'm not sure why we don't have that demand. It's quite interesting, unless they're all taking the kind of commercial jobs, maybe. So how many jobs are available? So okay, we have more jobs available than we have population. So we kind of need to build more residential. areas. That will be a good thing for us to do. So let's get that up and running then. So just keep it going. There we go. We've got a lot of demand for it. So we're going to squeeze them all in. It's literally what every one of these I do is one additional family that moves into the city. So we're going to keep this rocking and rolling. So we got 3,500 jobs in the city. And we don't even have that in population. So no wonder they're screaming for more workers. we don't have the people to even fill those jobs. That's kind of hilarious, isn't it? Right, we'll get some around the university then. A prestigious area. We should probably think about also dropping down some leisure stuff as well. See if we can kind of cause any upgrades to happen. Not sure if we will, but it'd be interesting to see. Alright, let's get this little area all set up then. What's our residential demand? We still have a residential demand. There we go. Still got the residential demand. I mean, why is it still giving me a commercial demand when we don't have the people to work in there? Probably they're asking for a commercial demand for shopping-based stuff. Maybe. But we need to educate everyone first. What's the education like? So only 1% highly educated. A lot of them are still uneducated. What's the elementary? I feel like I need to get like another elementary school in, like somewhere down here maybe. I'll kind of... Oh, no, well, that's not an elementary school. I kind of dent into some of the commercial that we have. There we go. To feed. I want to to feed our growing appetite for learning. Also, it destroys a few commercial buildings, so they'll have to go and get jobs in the other commercial buildings that are begging for workers. So we'll see how it goes, boys. We see how it goes. Looking at it right. Wait, is that 2 building? Yeah. Excuse me. You're meant to be a 1 building. Same over here. How have I done that? No idea. Right, get rid of those. Some of them are triple buildings. We don't want that. There we go. So how is the park doing now? 5,000 income. So that might take a slight little hit now the fact that we got trams on the go. But you never know. We'll see. Public transport anyway. We're only 800 in the hole. We're only 800 in the hole. So yeah. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping with more people that kind of use it, then we might make a little bit more profit. That residential growth is spiking, boys. It's spiking. It's not going to drop dramatically because I've just got a ton of new residential zoning now in 1x1 buildings. Which our population now to 3,500, which is technically what it said was available in terms of jobs, which it still is. But it doesn't mean everybody can have that job because obviously some of that population is too old, some of them are too young, some of them are not educated. But as long as we now go above the available jobs that we currently have, we can slowly start to fill those jobs. It's just going to be a long fight. It's going to be a long fight and still no industry. This is crazy. It's going to be the first city I've ever built where it just refuses to have any interest in industry whatsoever. It's amazing. It is freaking amazing. I'm hearing some ding-a-ling-and upgrades too. What level? What was it? Level 2 building. Level 2 building and still only 1 family lives there. Level 3 building. Oh, 2 people live there. Okay, so they've got to go up quite high still before anything happens. Okay. Right, we've dwindled down that residential demand right now. Now we can still continue to go. We still have the commercial demand, which, as much as I want to drop down commercial, I kind of don't because there's still a lot of jobs that they need to fill. So we'll keep it as it is. What's the education levels like now? 3% highly educated. We're slowly getting there. With slowly but surely, we are getting there. The 1x1 city looks, it looks tiny, weird, but it works. Definitely works. Interesting to see how things now take long. We now have no healthcare apart from death care. So I might drop a big boy hospital down. We'll kind of squeeze it in over here. Give this area a bit more life and more stuff going down over there. So hopefully that will kind of satisfy a lot of people, cause a lot more upgrades. Now we have like some decent healthcare. I've just seen so many ambulances. Look at that, 29, nearly all the ambulances, and all the ambulances are now out in full force, taking care of everyone who originally was probably, you know, borderline dying. We've got 102 sick citizens, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you've only got a population of 3,700, that's quite a lot. That is definitely quite a lot. So policing then, we're probably going to need something a bit more chunkier and beefier. So we'll drop a good police station there. And we'll drop a good fire station over here. There we go. So now we're making more money a week. We can afford to do stuff like that. Which is probably now give us a few more jobs as well, because you can work in those buildings. Yeah. So we're now up to 3,000, nearly 3,900 jobs available. Only 3% of the population is currently unemployed. The population is always growing, so that's good. We now have more jobs than population again. It's a vicious circle. It never ends. It literally never ends. But all the residential is slowly getting set up in that area. It's fun, isn't it? It definitely is fun. So I wonder if building like an import-export area would spark any interest in an industry. So if I was to build something like a cargo harbour, which one would cost me a lot of money, 60,000, it would be interesting to see if that sparks any interest in some import-exports. It will help the commercial area, 100%. But would it spark any interest in industry? I want to find out. So let's get a loan. Let's take the 60,000 loan, because that's pretty much what the harbour is going to cost us. Here we go, cargo harbour, and we'll squeeze it in pretty much over here. It's not going to have any power, unfortunately, to begin with, but let's connect the road up there. Let's bring that road up there and connect it there. So that's all connected. Needs some water. There we go. It's going to need some power, so I'll drop down the little parking area one, little solar panel car park, which that should give it all the power that it needs. And that'll be interesting to see if that would spark the industry to grow, because that will provide a lot more jobs as well and cause even more growth to the city. Because we have a huge commercial demand, yet we still haven't filled all the jobs in. It's weird, isn't it? How can you have such a huge demand for commercial when you can't get the people to work in those buildings? I mean, let me see, how many people are working in here? So all they're really after is literally high educated people. Highly educated. Which 5% of the population is. A lot of them are still uneducated, but they're moving in various areas. Right, should we get an elementary school in up here? I'm going to squeeze one in just there, kind of satisfy a lot of areas over there. High school, we're borderline the capacity for that, so let's get another one of these buildings in. So we got one over there, let's squeeze one on this side. And that will sort those guys out. So yeah, we've got the education platform there. It's just we got to make our citizens utilize it. And nobody's even bothering to go anywhere near the cargo harbour. So one, it could be a waste of money. You know, that's always a thought. Oh, a ship is now coming. Right, a few vehicles are now getting off, which will be imports to various shops and stores. It's just nothing fitting the industrial side. That's the only thing I can do right now. But so many uneducated people. So many uneducated. We need to reduce that. We need to sort that gap out. So it's literally a waiting game to get the rest of the residential stuff in. How many jobs are now taken? So 1,936. Okay, right now these where's the low commercial? Which it is these ones here. They kind of don't need a highly educated worker. It depends on which one you click on. So we could get away with having or making another commercial zone to get more people employed, because there is that need for workers. And I do need to drop down somehow this commercial demand to increase our residential demand. So it's the game we've got to play. It's not a fair game, because it doesn't make sense in my eyes. But it's the game we have to play. Right, so by doing that little kind of area there, they automatically get workers. Well, not all of them. They're getting over-educated workers. Some of them don't even have any workers. Again, it's just literally to satisfy that demand. Which is annoying, because we don't have the workers. And to get the workers, we need a residential demand, which we're not getting. It's a vicious circle, guys. It's a vicious circle. So believe it or not, we're kind of going through this weird stage right now where we do get the educated workers and they fill the position, but then we get the increase of commercial demand, which builds a new building, like over here, and then takes new workers, which the educated workers, because technically there is already a person working there, that educated worker won't go to where he's needed. He'll stay there, so that highly educated one won't get its place taken. And our demands are fighting back each other, because I've zoned quite a bit. I've got some commercial there, some residential over here, and there's still gaps and stuff to kind of cover. The two demands are fighting each other. They're not going to increase until there's no more zoning left at all. But they're just kind of fighting back. Like the commercial increases get satisfied, which then boosts the residential, which then gets satisfied, and then boosts the commercial. It's back and forth. And oh my god, I think we have just had our first industrial building come into play. I've just spied the industrial demand slightly increase. How did that happen? Do we have any offices? Oh, we've got one office in as well. So yeah. Ooh, we could see an industrial growth happening right now. This is great. It took how long? It took me to get nearly 7,000 population in the city to get our first industrial building. How did it take that long? I have no freaking idea. We're now starting to get offices coming in left, right, and centre, which is good. It's good, but for those commercial buildings holding out for them highly educated residents, they're now going to take the industrial jobs. We got another one coming in over here as well, which is so far away from any power. Oh, no, it's near this one here, so it's all good. What is our power situation like anyway? Okay, so we're producing more than what we're using. Perfect. But this is crazy. This is literally crazy. For the first time ever, we're getting industrial demand, which might spark other demands in other places. But this one-by-one city is looking really weird. And I can see only it's going to end one way. And that is... it's going to have a ridiculous commercial. I just don't know why the commercial has gone so crazy. And I don't know why the industrial has only taken this long for it to come into play. But at this point, it's kind of pointless with the amount of commercial that we do have. The commercial will eventually die out because there's not enough customers coming in at one point. Because there is a lot of commercial buildings. This is so weird of seeing towers upon towers upon towers. I know some of these guys here are like really highly upgraded, which is kind of crazy. And the buildings are dying out, some of them because there's not enough educated workers, and now the industrial is going to take those workers. I mean, that's giving us a lot more jobs, isn't it? Yeah. The jobs is just going to continue to increase, which means unemployment... I don't know if unemployment will increase. I have a feeling it will go down. We might see more people using the public transport. What's the park saying? So the park's dipping down with visitors. Demand's all over the place. So our public transport, we're not losing that much money, but we're losing a little bit less than what originally set up. 355 people are using the kind of what's it called, the trams, which is good. It's kind of weird, isn't it? It is kind of weird to see it all come into play. And we are slowly starting to fill up the educated kind of jobs. We've got 21% highly educated, but it's not enough. Definitely not enough. And there we go. The industrial demand is now in full swing. Once you get a couple of buildings, it then builds up a little bit more demand, and that gets filled. And before you know it, we have a huge wave of industrial, which will all get filled. I bet you all those offices are in, yeah. Right, there's 2 gaps there. No, there's 3 more office buildings that need to be filled. How many jobs do these take? 2 workers. And how many do these take? 2 workers as well, which only need to be uneducated workers, but unfortunately it's taken over-educated workers. Saying, well, this one needs a highly educated one. So it's happening here too. They're going to steal the workers away from what would have been considered commercial workers. It took a while for the industrial area to come in. Well, it came in. It came in the end. We've got the residential demand now starting to skyrocket, which there is still a few little gaps here and there to fill it all up. So they're now all getting placed in. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? It's kind of crazy. We could totally push this all the way up to 10,000 residents, but we're going to have the same problem. Not enough educated workers. And that's because normally you'd overfill the residential areas to get the buildings in, and the buildings would be a lot bigger than these are, which could house like maybe 10 families. So our population could be times 10 right now. Almost. I mean, it's quite, exaggerated, but that's the case. But because of how the demands work, I think it goes based off how many buildings you got. It doesn't really do what you want it to do, because you can have like 20 people living in one building, but you don't have 20 jobs in one building. So that's how you could, always overfill the population with all the jobs. But it's quite interesting to see how it all plays out. So unemployment's at 24%. That's not because of lack of jobs. It's just lack of education. Elementary, we've got the demand. High school, we've got the demand. University, we've got the demand. Well, we've got the capacity for it, should I say. So it is pretty interesting. It is pretty interesting. But I think I want to end it here anyway, guys. You can create a fully functional 1x1 city. 1, it takes hours to build. 2, if you can get industry set up straight away, then GG on you. I don't know why my industry never came into play until at this point. It is kind of crazy to kind of see it only now working. Residential demand is now through the roof, which is understandable. We got a lot of jobs on offer, and now a brand new industry set up too, which is pretty cool. But this has been the 1Tile, the 1x1 city. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, smash that like button down below. And until next time, I'll see you all soon. So, goodbye.